After his birth, I think it's probably the second biggest thing that I felt. My first tryout match with WCW was a pay-per-view. A lot of fans played that game, and still to this day, they think that that's one of the best games.
This may seem like a funny question, but do you ever get tired of people calling you a legend?
No, I actually appreciate that. It gives you a sense of, like, man, okay, I've been doing this for 35 plus years, so it's like every time you get called a legend, like it's confirming like everything you've established from day one. So it feels really good.
You know, moves that you use. How does that feel?
There's a sense of gratitude and respect. Obviously, it's funny because she did that last night. Saturday after the Rumble, we were all hanging out, and she was one of the female superstars that was part of our group socially that night. And every time she sees me, she always calls me legend. So, it's out of respect. It's out of paying homage. And she's an incredible wrestler. I enjoy very much her work.
So speaking of NXT, Stand and Deliver was announced here in Las Vegas, WrestleMania weekend, as we've come to expect. As someone who's been through so many eras of pro wrestling, what does the current incarnation of NXT sort of mean to you?
I think it's a stepping stool to potentially make it into the bigger brands. Not to say that NXT isn't big. No, it is big. I wish we would have had an NXT version back in the day, which kind of prepped you up to potentially be part of a Monday Night Nitro. At the time, it was like, I remember my first tryout match with WCW was a pay-per-view. Like, they had never seen me wrestle before, and they said, yeah, they want to come see you wrestle. You're scheduled to wrestle at a Great American Bash. I had no idea. Back then, I had no idea what a non-live television match was. This was all new to me, stepping into the U.S. for the first time. But yeah, that was my debut on live television, the first match to kick off the pay-per-view in '96 for the Great American Bash. NXT now is the stepping stone for you to get better, prepare yourself, and to become a star there and potentially become an even bigger star on Raw or SmackDown.
It's funny that you brought up WCW. And you've been in, and I did the research, you've been in 31 video games. From WCW NWO World Tour all the way to 2025 this year. You were the cover.
I have a question for you in a second then.
What's that?
I have a question for you in a second after this.
Okay. So you were the cover athlete in 2022. What's it been like for you to see the technology change in those video games?
Obviously, I've never been a big gamer. It's something that occasionally I'll sit down and play. But I always love to hear the feedback from fans, and the biggest feedback I had was when I first popped up on the N64, and that was the WCW days. A lot of fans played that game, and still to this day, they think that that's one of the best games that's been out there. So, to me, it's really cool. It's like having your first action figure, and you're seeing it, and you're going, "Oh my God! I can't believe where this is going." Not even thinking what's going to happen in the future. The fact that you said I was in how many games?
I had 31, not counting the new one.
Insane. I would have never known that number. But it's funny. 2 days ago, we were talking about action figures, and somebody had told me that they had slightly a number of 400 action figures of Rey Mysterio action figures, and they asked me if that was correct. I said, to be honest, I have no idea. I just know they've done a lot over the years, but from day one of my career up until now, that sounds probably about right from all the colors and outfits that I've worn over the years.
The Call of Duty game, which I know you were in very recently, was that stepping outside the box, recording those lines? Did they have to scan you? What was that like?
So we did a little bit of scanning. and the lines actually were done here in Vegas in a studio.
Wheelbarrow into a bulldog. Just incredible.
619. It was different. Again, I had played it a couple times prior to me being part of the game with my son, and for some reason, I'm just not a good gamer. It was just hard for me to control the fighting and the shooting. I would get dizzy, screen-wise. So, but it was really cool. It was we knew that took it to another level, especially how big Call of Duty is.
You mentioned your son. This is the scene of the crime. This is where you finally decide to give Dirty Dom a smack. It was Las Vegas. That was a great moment. I honestly, in person, I'm not sure I've ever heard a pop that big. What did that mean to you to see the crowd embrace Dom as a villain in that story and to see it work so well with the crowd?
After his birth, I think it's probably the second biggest thing that I felt, seeing his progress and the evolution of Dominik from day one of him wanting to be part of this business up until now and his growth. I can easily say and detach myself from them knowing that I'm his father and he's my son. Now he's known as Dirty Dom. Like, he has his own identity now. And as a parent, that makes you feel proud. It makes you feel like there's much less weight on your back because he's carrying his own bag right now. And I'm so proud of him.
So I've been told unsolicited by wrestlers from other companies how good Dom is. I didn't ask; they volunteered it. Yeah. Do performers backstage talk to you about him all the time, and how sick of hearing about Dom are you at this point?
They have in the past and still continue. Everyone is pretty much amazed at his success and how fast he's been growing. There's no doubt in my mind that when it's in your blood and it's in your genes, it's something that you carry, you can't deny it. Even if you try to push it away, it's right there. And I think he was born to be this, At one point I was very nervous because I was like, who's going to take over the legacy, man? No one. I mean, my daughter, no, she's pursuing her medical career. But Dom actually pulled through and as a parent, you always want your kid to do good, and you push them and you push them. And I did a lot of that when we were working together. And now that we're not, it's like, it's the best thing you could have done, Cut that string, the umbilical cord. Now we're two different identities.
Amazing. It's a family affair. And one of the other things that I've noticed, WWE World, I want to talk about that because that's also a family affair. I went to the great-grandfather of that, Fan Access, back in Seattle. And that's, that was such a cool event. What is it about these events and getting to kind of connect with these families, these young kids that is so special about WWE? Because it seems like a uniquely sports entertainment kind of thing.
Right. I think there's very few sports or connections that you can have with your family, with the dad. They sat down and watched wrestling. Now the dad with the son and the grandfather. It's a generational thing, and I think that's what makes it very special, very unique. The connection that families have through sports entertainment, through WWE, for the amount of years that we've been on the air is amazing. I think that's what really makes that bond and makes it, it solidifies it as one of the best get-together family events that you can enjoy.
Let's talk. We recently announced Raw is coming here, SmackDown, got Stand and Deliver, we've got WWE World, and of course the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania. What should Las Vegas expect from WrestleMania week?
Exactly that, a WrestleMania week, wrestling week. It's gonna be. My first WrestleMania was 19, and I was in awe when I stepped into Seattle.
That was your first WrestleMania?
That was my first WrestleMania.
That's the first one I went
Really?
as well.
Yeah,
my gosh,
WrestleMania
yeah.
19.
You and Matt Hardy.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Heck
opened up the show.
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
mean to interrupt, but
it's
like
awesome.
I
It's
didn't
cool.
know
It
that
brings
was your
back
first
memories,
one.
right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
That was my very first one.
Wow.
So, like you realize how bigger and bigger and bigger year after year this event becomes. Again, it's a moment of enjoying. It's a moment of detaching from your daily life, and what better place to do it than in Vegas, right? There's something for everyone here, but the fact that we have pretty much wrestling every day for that whole week makes it special. Sometimes you think, well, man, after Manias, they must go home and kind of be tired of wrestling and put it aside. But no, there's a continuation. The story begins the following day right away. So it's a really fun time to be able to hang out with the homies, with the family, and enjoy it to the fullest, because WrestleMania is that one event that you do not want to miss.